Hello, this is Dr. Todd, and I want to welcome you back to Thinking Christianly. In today's vlog, we're going to be entertaining the question, what is the chief limitation of modern secular psychology? Well, before I get started, let me say this. Modern secular psychology is a gift of God's common grace in many ways. There are many things that we've learned through the research of individuals who happen to be unbelievers. We can learn a great deal from modern secular psychology, but modern secular psychology is got a huge limitation, and that limitation deals with its view of reality. Now, as many of you who know me know, I'm a big advocate or fan of Francis Schaeffer. And Schaeffer really helps us understand the limitation here with modern secular psychology. First of all, modern secular psychology proceeds in general through a worldview that is deterministic, either psychologically deterministic in the sense that you're predetermined by earlier experiences, or environmentally deterministic in that you are the product of your environment, or chemically deterministic. You are nothing more than a configuration of DNA molecules. And although there are some truths in each of those approaches, at the end of the day, those worldviews do not cohere with Christianity. Christianity sees individuals as image-bearing and body souls who continually worship before the face of God. And Christianity, as Schaeffer would say, offers a comprehensive explanation of all of life. There's nothing that the Christian worldview does not address, or the scope of which is excluded from the Christian worldview. And as such, I think what I'd like to do is read a brief passage from Death in the City to give you the example of where modern secular psychology, and for our terms today, let's call it Christian psychology, would differ. In his book, Death in the City, Schaeffer writes about, he has a chapter in the book entitled The Universe in Two Chairs. Let me read this parable that he gives. Let me illustrate this. Imagine the room where you are sitting with the curtains pulled and the doors locked. Let us suppose that room is the only universe that God has made. Now that would be possible. God could have made such a universe. So let us say that the only universe that exists is the room with the doors locked and the curtains pulled. There's nothing outside at all, absolutely nothing. We are in a universe that can be seen with one look around the room. Now let's go further. Suppose we have two chairs in this room and that sitting on these two chairs are two men, the only two men in the universe. As we consider them, we find that they differ. One is a totally consistent materialist. As far as he is concerned, the universe is made up of nothing but mass, energy, and motion. That's all there is to it. On the other chair sits a Christian who lives in the light of the teaching of the Bible as the propositional revelation of God. And these two sit facing each other in a universe in which they sit alone. After they've looked at each other a while, the materialist says, "Now I'm going to explore our universe." And the Christian replies, "That's fine." So the materialist begins to analyze the universe, and it takes a long time. He goes through all the scientific processes that we now use to examine our own universe. He uses the sciences of chemistry, biology, physics, etc. He goes back to the periodic table, and behind the periodic table, into the atom, and examines it. He examines everything from the paint on the wall to the more basic particles. All this takes a long time. Finally, as an older man, he comes to the Bible-believing Christian and brings him a big set of books. And he says, "Now, here's a set of books. They're nicely bound, and they give in great detail a description of our universe." So the Christian takes a number of months, even years, to study these books with care. Finally, the Christian turns to the materialist and he says, "Well, this is a tremendous work. You really told me a great deal about my universe that I wouldn't otherwise have known. However, my friend, though this is all very instructive, it's drastically incomplete." And you can imagine this man who has spent his entire lifetime pouring out his heart to do his measuring and his weighing, suddenly taken aback. He turns and says to the Christian, "Well now, I'm shocked that you tell me that it's not all here. What have I missed?" And then the Christian responds something like this: "I have a book here, the Bible, and it tells me things you do not know. It tells me the origin of the universe. Your scientific investigation by its very nature cannot do that. And your investigation also says nothing about where you and I as men came from. You have examined us because we, like the paint on the wall, are phenomena in the universe. You've studied something of our psychology, and you've even given me several volumes on it. But you have not told me how we came to be here. In short, you don't know the origin of either the universe or us." Furthermore, the Christian continues, "I know from this book that there is more to the universe than you have described. There's an unseen portion as well as a seen portion, and there is a cause and effect relationship between them. They are not mutually exclusive, but are parts of one reality. It is as if you had taken an orange, sliced it in half, and only concerned yourself with one of the halves. To really understand reality in our universe, you have to consider both halves, both the seen and the unseen." Well, what do we learn from that parable? And how does it relate to the relationship between the Christian worldview and the worldview of modern secular psychology? We've learned, first, that modern secular psychology has done a great deal of studying that which is seen in our universe. And we as Christians can benefit greatly from poring over that research. But we also know that modern secular psychology is very limited because it only stares, however intently, at one slice of the orange. And so, if we are going to interact with modern secular psychology as Christian counselors, we have to study both halves of the orange. We have to understand that there is a seen world and an unseen world. There are ethical and spiritual realities that are there, and that those ethical and spiritual realities interact with the biological and the psychosocial realities of this universe. And as such, as we do that, what we see is that a Christian approach to the discipline of psychology and its subdiscipline of counseling offers a more holistic view of reality, whereas those who study psychology from a strictly secular modern perspective have a truncated or limited view of psychology and of all reality. As such, if you want to see the whole picture, you've got to look at the whole thing. And only the Christian worldview provides that. Well, I hope this talk has been helpful. Listen, if you liked it, if you enjoyed what we're trying to do here at Thinking Christianly, hit like and subscribe down below. Also, if you have any questions or would like further either elaboration or would like to see more questions dealt with in the future of this kind of Christian worldview and counseling and psychology type issues, please leave it in the comments below. God bless. We'll talk again soon.